Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you are a manager or a team leader trying to integrate AI into your workflows right now, you're probably feeling a very specific, very real type of exhaustion. We are constantly told that AI is going to make everything faster, easier, and just completely effortless. Yet, for so many of us, integrating these systems feels, well, completely overwhelming. Today, we're going to unpack exactly why that's happening, and more importantly, we're going to rethink our entire approach to achieve what's known as true decision superiority. If you look at the landscape of corporate work today, you'll see this massive, frankly chaotic problem taking shape, and that's AI tool sprawl. As a manager, you aren't just dealing with one simple tool anymore. You're dealing with an absolute flood of new applications, plugins, and autonomous agents, and they are all firing off at once. So instead of providing clear solutions, the sheer volume of these tools is just flooding your workflows with noise. Suddenly, you're spending way more time babysitting the AI than actually doing the high-level management work you were hired to do in the first place.
Okay, let's really dive into this fundamental disconnect. On one hand, we have the AI promise, right? More output, more analysis, more autonomy. That's the dream we were all sold. But contrast that with the manager's reality, severe information overload and massive cognitive burden. The whole paradigm we've been operating under basically assumes that maximum AI autonomy is the ultimate goal. But that assumption, it's actively hurting teams by burying them under an absolute mountain of machine-generated activity.
To figure out why this is happening, we really need to reframe how we view these systems. There's this brilliantly insightful quote from analyst Christopher Coleman that hits the nail right on the head. It actually blew my mind a little bit when I first read it. He says, artificial intelligence is often discussed as if the central breakthrough is the ability to generate more. We have become absolutely obsessed with generating more text, more predictions, more code, but simply generating more volume? That's actually the exact opposite of what a human decision maker needs to be effective. So, how do we solve this? Well, to fix this incredibly modern corporate problem, we actually have to look backward. Specifically, to publicly available military and defense research from around 2019. It turns out, this exact crisis, the reality that humans can only handle so much data before completely shutting down, was incredibly obvious to defense researchers years before ChatGPT ever hit the market. They face this exact same data crisis on the battlefield. If we trace how their operational environment evolved, it maps perfectly to what businesses are experiencing right now. Pre-2019, data volume absolutely exploded thanks to new sensors and technologies. By 2019, the military started using machine learning and AI to assist with tactical decisions, literally just to handle that data. Fast forward to today, and we're in the third phase. Multiple AI agents are creating an entirely new bottleneck of overload. Researchers at the Naval Postgraduate School predicted this exact evolution. They knew that solving a data problem with AI would eventually lead to the future stage we desperately need right now, which is coordination and control.
Now, a truly fascinating concept from this 2019 research by Scott Wood is unknown unknowns, specifically in the context of combat identification. He defined these as objects or conditions that are not already understood, easily classified, or represented inside an existing model. The problem wasn't a lack of data. It was that the increasing volume of data from all these sensors completely exceeded the ability of human watchstanders to manually examine every single signal and spot the anomalies.
Think about how directly that translates to your team's tech stack today. Look at this chaotic sprawl. Modern AI architectures stack together language models, specialized models, retrieval systems, external databases, APIs, autonomous agents, and human operators, and they are all running simultaneously. It's the whole shebang. Just like those military watchstanders, corporate managers literally cannot manually examine every signal, every change, and every possible relationship happening across all these layered technologies fast enough. It's impossible.
And this brings us to a massive operational blind spot. I want you to really think about this question for a second. What happens when one AI component knows something that another does not? When you have language models drafting emails, agents updating databases, and APIs pulling new market data, all without a central coordinator, you get chaos. You get conflicting actions, duplicated efforts, and critical context that just falls completely through the cracks. So the crucial takeaway here is this. Uncoordinated AI recreates the exact problem it was meant to solve in the first place, which is too much information. Without coordination, adding more intelligence paradoxically creates more cognitive burden for you as a manager. More models produce more conclusions, more automation produces more state changes, like databases updating or email sending without you even knowing. The architecture gets wildly more capable for sure, but infinitely harder for a human to comprehend and manage.
We absolutely cannot keep managing AI the way we do now. The solution has to be architectural. We need a missing middle layer of orchestration sitting directly between the AI's machine speed activity and human decision-making. In Christopher Coleman's analysis, this conceptual middle layer is known as Warden. It's a dedicated system whose entire purpose is not to generate more output, but to actually manage the chaos happening below the surface. Let's break down exactly what this orchestration layer's job entails. Fundamentally, it's a translator and a coordinator. First, it has to preserve system context across all your different AI tools. Second, it coordinates useful activity, making sure agents aren't literally working against each other. Third, it surfaces only the relevant signals. And finally, it translates that massive machine-scale activity into bite-sized, actionable insights for humans. It determines what actually requires your intervention and what can safely just continue on its own. And this brilliantly illustrates the literal blueprint of how information should flow in a healthy AI-enabled organization. It starts with raw signals, which go through AI processing. But, and this is key, instead of dumping that processing directly onto a manager's desk, it goes to step 3, the orchestration layer or Warden. Only after it's filtered, coordinated, and translated does it reach step 4, the human decision. This structure is what actually protects your team's cognitive bandwidth. Now you might be wondering, why can't we just build a traditional software dashboard for this? Well, let's contrast traditional software with agentic AI. Traditional software relies on known states and expected outputs. Input arrives, rules execute. End of story. But agentic AI operates in changing environments. It generates intermediate reasoning, calls on tools unexpectedly, and alters its actions based on what it discovers along the way. You can't just write a static dashboard around every possible event in advance, because the system itself is constantly shifting.
Which means something truly fascinating has happened. The unknown problem? It hasn't disappeared, it has just migrated. It moved from tactical battlefield sensors directly into the complex architecture of AI itself. The challenge today is figuring out how to recognize an important signal inside an AI environment that has become way too complex for continuous human inspection.
And that brings us to the ultimate goal. In 2019, researchers Ying Zhao and Dan C. Boger defined an incredible concept: decision superiority. The objective is not to have the smartest AI. The objective is to compress an enormous chaotic information environment into something that directly improves the quality or speed of a human decision. The machine is only useful if it reduces your cognitive burden, allowing you to make better choices faster. When you view AI through the lens of decision superiority, everything changes. We have to stop chasing this false idol of maximum autonomy. A completely autonomous system that cannot communicate meaningful changes or preserve context becomes operationally useless very quickly. The better, much smarter objective is controlled capability. This is where machines act at machine speed, processing incredible volumes of data, but humans only receive the right information at the exact right level of abstraction. The core operational lesson we have to take away from this explainer is simple but profound. Let machines process continuously, so human attention is applied only where it has the absolute highest value. Your team shouldn't have to constantly watch the machine. The system's job, orchestrated by that critical middle layer, is to drastically reduce the decision space so that your team's limited, valuable attention is laser-focused on strategy and high-stakes judgment. So as you look at how your own team is adopting these powerful new tools, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. Take a hard look at your tech stack, your workflows, and your daily cognitive load, and ask yourself, is your AI architecture creating maximum autonomy, generating endless noise and unpredictable states, or is it actually creating decision superiority? The answer to that question is absolutely going to define the future success of your team. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope this helps you reclaim your focus and drive true clarity in the age of AI.